Good morning and Happy New Year! Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. It's been a couple of days since I posted a video. Not for any particular reason, but I've just been lazy. Anyway, we got to talk about equal weighted index funds. That's right. What is an equal weighted index fund? Well, you pick a random index, especially a crappy index like the S&P 500. Just kidding. But you take an index like the S&P 500, and instead of investing it at market cap weights, where you say, okay, the larger companies, I'm going to buy that, at a higher weighting, and smaller companies, I'm going to buy that at a smaller weighting. Instead of doing that, I'm going to equally invest in every single company in the S&P 500. So basically, what you do is you take 500 companies, you divide it so where you're equally invested in each freaking one. Now, why is this a horrible, stupid, clownish, flawed approach? Well, first of all, I personally, and I think a reasonable person would agree, that the market is generally efficient. What does that mean? That means most stocks are priced right where they should be. Now, some stocks are overvalued, some stocks are undervalued, and it's so easy to identify that, right? But on average, I'd say most stocks are probably fairly valued. There is a lot of information out there, and there are a lot of people watching the stock market. And the prices of all the stocks in the stock market, the market capitalizations of all these companies, are determined by buyers and sellers who reach an equilibrium. That's the price. I think most people would agree with that. So, if you think of the market as that, if you agree with that statement, why are you equally weighting every single stock in an index? Does it make any sense whatsoever to take a company like Microsoft and weight it the same as Tattooed Trucker's Sweaty Butt Crack in your portfolio? Because yes, if you had a total market equal weighted index, you would weight Tattooed Trucker's Nutsack at the same weighting that you would Microsoft. But if you compared the future projected profits of Microsoft versus the future projected profits of Tattooed Chef or any company, obviously Microsoft is going to make way more money. Okay, at least that's what people think. So does it make any sense whatsoever to weight them exactly the same? No, it doesn't. It is a random methodology. Doing an equal weighted index is the same as doing like an inverse weighted index, where you take an index and you weight the smallest companies higher than you weight the biggest companies. Can you imagine an index like that? You take VTI and you weight like I think Tattooed Chef probably is the smallest market cap in VTI. And you weight Tattooed Chef the most because it's the least weighted in a market cap weighted system. That's basically what you're doing with an equal weighted index. It is the most clownish thing I have ever heard of in my entire life. Now, even if you believe that, some of the smaller companies in an index are undervalued, why would you weight them equally? It doesn't make sense. Either you believe in the efficient markets overall or you don't. And if you don't believe in efficient markets, instead of weighting everything equally, overweight some companies you think are undervalued, regardless of their market cap or how much they're composed of in an index. It makes no sense whatsoever. That's the first reason that equal weighted indexes are an abomination. The second reason is that they are insanely tax inefficient. Because think about what's happening here. You are weighting every company at the exact same weighting in your chosen index. Now, what if one company runs up massively? Let's say NVIDIA, everybody realizes, oh my God, NVIDIA's, like they're a monopoly and, their profits are exploding and their revenue's exploding and they're the backbone of the AI revolution. And NVIDIA goes to the freaking moon, vertical lines. Paul Gabriel gets nuked from orbit, but buys course. I had to say that, of course. But what would you do? Well, you'd be like, well, it's time to sell NVIDIA because in my equal weighted index, it was 0.25%, but now it's 1%, and that can't be. So what are you going to do? you're going to sell NVIDIA and you're going to balance everything out. And what happens when you balance everything out? Oh, you incur capital gains. Now, you're going to be incurring capital losses too. But basically, every time something runs up, even remotely, theoretically, with an equal weighted index, you'd have to trim it down so it goes back to equal weight. That generates horrible tax inefficiency, which if you check your Form 1040 at the end of every year and look at, what is it, line 8 or something? Look at that line that says capital gains. You're going to see a big number there. Why? Because the index you invested in is going to pass through all of those capital gains to you, and you're going to pay tax on it. That's right. So equal weighted indexes are some of the most, they're abominations. Like, whenever I hear equal weighted index, it makes me want to crap my pants and not change my underwear and just sit in filth. That's what I think about equal weighted indexes. All right, let me know your thoughts.